All right, this is going to be my review of the movie American Wedding 2003. This one clocks in at 103 minutes. It stars Jason Biggs as Jim Lowenstein, Allison Hannigan as Michelle, Eddie K. Thomas is back as Finch, Thomas Ian Nicholas is also back as Kevin, Sean William Scott as Stifler, Eugene Levy as Jim's father. We have Deborah Rush appearing in this as the mother of Michelle, and then Fred Willard is the father of Michelle. The sister of Michelle is played by January Jones. The grandmother of Jim is played by Angela Patton, who you might remember from Groundhog Day, 1993. We also have John Cho returning as the MILF guy, and then the other MILF guys in this as well. This was the first film in the American Pie series that I ever saw. I saw it when it first came out, and I was not familiar with the other two. And I liked it enough, I thought it was funny enough, that I immediately went out and rented the first two and saw why the hype was so big and saw how funny the first two were. This one, of course, has the title American Wedding, but in the opening credits it says American Pie The Wedding. So I don't know if that was the official title at first, but I think American Wedding is definitely a easier and kind of a better title for the third installment of the American Pie series. And the opening scene of this is good. It follows the same formula as the first two, as we have Jim in a compromising situation with the parents. This time it's just his dad that comes in a restaurant with Michelle. She's under the table. He's trying to propose to her. She's doing something to him, and it's a pretty funny scene. It's a little stupid in a way because she doesn't even realize that the dad is there, but whatever, it's a comedy. It does work, it's funny. He's embarrassed in front of the entire restaurant and proposes to her. She says yes, and it's a really good setup to the film. It makes you feel like, here we go, this is going to be really good, just like the first two. And then the scene after that shows him with Michelle in a bar with his buddies Kevin and Finch, but there's no Oz, and this is going to be a problem. Chris Klein, who played Oz, is not in this film, and you immediately feel this void of him not being there. It's a bar. It's not the hot dog place they usually are in at the beginning, but it's four, but she is there with them, so immediately it feels different. There's a wedding party at Jim's house that's pretty. Now I kind of like this little sequence because there's a wedding party and it's in the afternoon. You get this feel of this transition from movie to movie. The first one, it's they go to the high school party and it's the freshest. There's kegs. And then the second one, it's kind of the same. They're in the same party, the same Stifler's house, the kegs, but there's high school kids there and they're home from college, so it feels a little weird to them. In this one, there's this transition of like they're out of college and they kind of want that party again, but they go they're at Jim's house and there's a lot of adult presence there and there's only champagne. And they're like, where's the keg? So I think that's a real feel right there that they create. Then Michelle's parents arrive. And I think the parents are good in this film, but this is really stupid because Jim has never met her parents, which is kind of strange. They've been together for like at least 4 years, really dating for like 3 years now, and he's never met them. And then you have Stifler come in, who wasn't invited. And the tone is set early here that he's going to be over the top in this film. And there's a dog humping scene in this, which is kind of stupid. They're trying to kind of push the envelope, and it's not really that funny. And then there's the gay bar scene that I think didn't need to be in there, with the dance off. When that dance off starts and you see Stifler come out, it's really a jump the shark moment. It just feels really dumb, and he dances, and the other guy dances, and they're really queasy in the bar because it's a gay bar. They're there because they're trying to find a designer to make the dream wedding dress for Michelle. And when they come out of the bar, this is in Chicago, Kevin makes the comment, kind of reprises his comment about this is like the best thing ever, because in the first one it's like, oh, this is gonna be the best prom ever, and we're gonna score and all this. And the second one is like, oh, this is gonna be the best ending of the summer, like party. This is awesome. But both of those things felt real. They felt like they were the best ever because of the things that happened. But this one, he comes out and they're outside the gay bar. They secure the wedding dress after the dance off. They get the designer to make the wedding dress. And Kevin says, was this the best night or what? And it just feels forced, and it's not real. Like, why would them being at a gay bar feel like the best night ever? Like, they weren't even drinking. They were mostly uncomfortable the whole time. And it's just really, it just doesn't work at all. Like, great, they got the wedding dress. Like, they accomplished what they were there to do, but it wasn't like some great night. The whole bar thing could have been taken out. They could have, I think, fit in Stifler's uncomfortableness around gay people a little better. Like, just have it in a couple spots there in the film. Not have the dance-off thing. It was just really dumb. Cadence, the sister, shows up, and when they're getting ready for the wedding, and from here you're going to have this fight between Stifler and Finch to win her affections. And they do this role reversal thing where Finch is the foul-mouthed jerk, and then Stifler pretends to be the cultured, nice guy. And at first this is kind of good. It's a little funny, but the joke wears thin very quickly. It gets old very fast. So I didn't like that. The bachelor party scene I did come around on. I thought it was similar to the lesbian scene in part 2 where it went on too long. But having seen it this time, I think it's one of the funnier scenes in the film when they get into the situation where Jim and his future in-laws come over, and then the strippers are there and they're trying to get him out of the situation. I think there's a lot of funny stuff in that scene. And I think the actress who plays Michelle's mother, Deborah Rush, I think she's a fine actress, and her reactions to the embarrassment are really good. And then Fred Willard is really funny in the scene as well as Michelle's father. So I think it's a pretty good scene. It's one of the funnier scenes in the film. Stifler as a central character in this film is not a good idea. Just because he's the funniest in the series doesn't mean you give him all the screen time. It just means you put him in to the right spots. Fast Times at Ridgemont High didn't learn this lesson, right? With Sean Penn's character. They gave him too much screen time, even though he was funny in some scenes. And I think here it's overkill, and he's overdoing it in a lot. I think Sean William Scott, the actor who played Stifler, was kind of reading his press clippings a little bit too much at this point, and he was just really going for it a little. He was going a little almost outside of the character and just overplaying it, and I didn't like it that way. I thought he was really good in part 1 and part 2. I didn't really like his performance in American Wedding. And the lack of Oz played by Chris Klein here, creates just a major hole here. This is probably the biggest error of the film, is not having Oz in this. The strength of the first two films was the four central characters, and Oz added a lot of body to this chemistry, to this heart, into this like connected relationship of the four guys. And he also plays a significant role as an important bridge between those guys and Stifler, because he's a friend of Stifler, plays lacrosse with him. He's kind of a jock, but he's also their friends. And so he's able to kind of link them to Stifler's house for the parties, and then to the Stifler's lake house for the prom party, and then have him along to help pay for the house in part two, the summer house. And so not having him in this really hurts the film. And by extension, and also Kevin in this film has no role at all. And this really hurts it as well. It makes the film suffer even more not having Kevin in this film. You lose that feeling of the bond even more. I mean, you're basically down to like two characters with Finch and Jim, and that really hurts. Kevin, played by Ian Nicholas, what was his name? Thomas Ian Nicholas, was so instrumental in the first two films. He was the one who came up with the whole idea of the pact in part one. And in part two, he was the one who got the idea from his brother to rent the lake house for the summer. And he also had a great storyline with him and Tara Reid's character. And so he's just a background character in this. He's not even, like, nothing happens to him in this movie. He's just kind of in some scenes, and he's not even chasing a bridesmaid, which is just crazy. January Jones, who played Candace, the sister of Michelle, I thought she was very bland in this. I didn't like her at all. It wasn't, I didn't buy her being the type of girl that two people would go out of their way to pretend to be someone else and do all these things to win her affections. That's just me. When you get a shot of the bridesmaids at the end, I saw a couple, the other two bridesmaids looked much better than January Jones. So that was a little weird to me, and I didn't like her performance. She's not like a great actress. So I didn't like that. The excuse for not having Oz in this was that there wasn't like a money issue or anything like that, or a falling out between the directors or anything. Their excuse has long been that they just couldn't really find like a storyline for him. They couldn't fit him into this. And that's not a very good excuse. This film, like I mentioned, is 103 minutes long, and it has some scenes in there, like the gay bar scene. There's a scene where Stifler eats dog feces that didn't need to be in there. It was really stupid. It wasn't funny. You could have had Oz in this. His role was reduced in American Pie 2, and you could have had him in at least kind of a reduced role, but there to really fill that chemistry. And I didn't mention Mina Suvari is not in this as well, so maybe have something going on with her as well. I think she should have had, maybe not a role for her, but maybe he's looking for somebody else in this, or maybe Mina Suvari appears at the wedding at the end, and they, by the magic of the wedding, they kind of reunite together or something. And then you also have, there's still some good heart in this film. I will say that it still has the heart to it, but it's not the same, because not having Oz and having the Kevin's reduced role and having too much of Stifler, and it's not as organic as the first two, the heart, I mean. For example, the groomsmen meeting is with Jim, Kevin, Finch, and Stifler, and and it's after they go through all this, there's a huge problem with the wedding, with Jim's grandmother, and with the flowers being ruined. But then it all is starting to come together and be rectified. And Jim tells his groomsmen, I've always wondered, like, why I always seem to get out of these situations is because you guys have always been there for me. Well, that didn't feel as natural because the only one who saved the day was Stifler. Like, he was the one who got the flowers back and then saved things with Jim's grandmother, who didn't accept the wedding because Michelle is not Jewish. So Stifler saved the day. The other two, who were his real friends, didn't do anything. So it just kind of felt like, you know, maybe that's true in the other films, but it's not, like, they didn't really do anything to help him out of the situation there. So the lack of Tara Reid in this hurts, and especially the lack of Natasha Lynn as Jessica really hurts. I think there was plenty of room for them in this, and with Kevin. I think they really had something going at the end of part 2 with Kevin and Tara Reid having this deciding to become friends after Kevin struggled with that and she had moved on. And I think 3 years later, maybe you can have a little bit of a reversal here where Kevin has moved on, but she kind of wants him back in her life. And you could have Natasha Lynn's character there kind of giving her advice on how to get him back. And maybe at the wedding, maybe it doesn't work out, but maybe, again, the magic of the wedding brings them together, and maybe he proposes to her or something. So I really thought that element would have been good to have, because Jessica's character was such a deep, she added a lot of depth to the cast. So not having them hurt as well. And no Shannon Elizabeth in this either. Nadia, I don't think there was a role for her at all in this, so I'm fine with that. The Shermanator, he's not in this either. I don't think there was a role for him either, except maybe showing up in a cameo at the end would have been okay. The MILF guys, I don't think needed to be there at all. I think it was kind of silly to have them as ushers. They're not really even friends of those guys. Like, they just show up at the parties. So it was really weird that they're like ushers. Like, they don't even know them. They have no interactions with them at all. Now, Stifler's mom in this, I liked her a lot better than in part 2. In part 2, it felt a little inevitable, and she was more of a punchline throughout the film. But in this one, it was a little bit more of a surprise when she shows up. And I really like the interaction between her and Finch in this. So I really liked, and her being at a wedding is just kind of cool too. So I liked her in this. And the final shots of the wedding itself, showing the parents, and Jim and Michelle have a cool little, he says something really cool that his dad said to him at one time. It kind of sums up their relationship. I think that's really good. It's heartfelt. So this movie is bookended really well. The opening scene, the closing scene, there's some funny things in the middle, but overall it's clearly the weakest of the American Pie, the 4 American Pie films, but they will make up for it in the 4th and final installment, which we think is the final installment, American Reunion, which I guess I will do a review on that. This came out in 2012. This was a lot better. I've only seen it once, but looking forward to checking this out again. And that's my review of American Wedding 2003. If you've seen the first 2, you should give this one a shot, but it's definitely the weakest one. And that's my review. See you guys for the next one.